heap, a kitchen mop, an old fur coat with a bird on top, a moving mess of unpleasantness. Good grief, what a mess! Eggshells, porridge, fell meringue. Is this Prince Amir up in jam? In toast and ketchup, you'll never guess. Oh no, what a mess! Though he's not a pretty sight, he really tries to do things right. With a mother who's tall and slim, I wonder how she ever thought of him. A shock that scruffy Afghan hound, a more foul creature you've never found. A tangled bundle of bristliness. Good grief, what a mess, what a mess, what a mess, what a mess.
Why are you wearing that silly thing on your head? Asked the puppy's beautiful Afghan mother as she gazed in despair at her scruffy son, christened Prince Amir of Kinjan, but known to everyone for obvious reasons as What a Mess. "It's my crown," said the puppy loftily. "As a prince in an old Afghanistan royal family, I'm entitled to wear a crown. I've always wanted one, and you never gave me one, so I've had to find one for myself." "But that's not a crown," said his mother. "It's a plastic colander, and you stole it from the kitchen sink. And you should have emptied out the spinach before you put it on. Now take it back at once, because the lady of the house is looking for it. And then wash the spinach out of your hair." "But it's my crown," cried the puppy. "Please, may I keep it? I'll only wear it on royal occasions, like being bathed or chasing the postman." The puppy's mother looked at the eager little face. "No," she said, "put the colander back. You might spoil things. There's a special treat planned for the weekend. We're all going camping at the seaside." "The seaside? Where I met my friend, the Archbishop of Canterbury. Can I bring him?" "Of course you can. You've been such a good little puppy for such a long time now. Days. The family want to give you a treat." What a Mess raced down the garden to tell his friend the good news. He sat down on an old sleeping bag from the shed, pointed his nose to the sky, and bayed, "Weep." And the Archbishop came galloping up. What a Mess told him the good news. He was invited to a camping weekend. The family who lived in the house were equally excited. The man had loaded up the car and bought a super portable camping barbecue and was trying it out on the patio. "Time to put the bangers on to cook," the man shouted. What a Mess sprang into action. This was something he could help with. He ran and fetched the box of bangers from the garage, left over from the 5th of November fireworks. The result was dramatic. "My new barbecue!" cried the man. "Who did this?" Then he saw What a Mess shaking in terror in the garden shed, clutching the empty box of fireworks. What a Mess was only allowed to come camping with them because they couldn't leave him behind, but he was not to do anything but sit quietly the whole weekend. And this was the worst bit. As punishment, he was not allowed to bring his friend, the Archbishop of Canterbury. So off the family went for their seaside weekend camping holiday, What a Mess crouching silently and miserably in the back of the car. When they got there, the man found a good spot on top of the cliff and put up a huge round bell tent. What a Mess was not allowed to help when everybody had to give a hand to put up the big centre pole. What a Mess hovered, hoping to help so that the man would relent, drive back and pick up What a Mess's friend who so desperately wanted to come on the holiday. The man erected his bent barbecue and started cooking much too much food. The heat adjustment didn't work since What a Mess had blown up the barbecue, and the man was overcooking all the food. "More wood for the fire," shouted the man. "Coming," shouted What a Mess, seizing his chance. He rushed into the tent, grabbed the pole between his jaws and pulled. What a Mess, feeling very lonely and miserable, wandered off along the beach. He remembered all the times he'd spent there chasing crabs with the Archbishop. An hour passed and darkness fell. What a Mess returned to the camp. The man, with the greatest difficulty, had put the tent back up again. He went to the car and took out of the boot the old sleeping bag. "You sleep in this," he said to What a Mess, quite calmly. "You do not come into the tent and wreak any more havoc under any circumstances. You sleep under the stars. Is that understood?" All alone, in the darkness, on a cliff top, What a Mess sadly and slowly unrolled the old sleeping bag. "Ho, ho, and about time too," said a cheery voice. And there, in a fold of the sleeping bag, lay the Archbishop of Canterbury. What a Mess's friend was there with him after all. "It was that man in your house. I was having a snooze in the sleeping bag when you left, and he suddenly rolled me up and popped the sleeping bag into the boot of the car. I've been here hours." Suddenly, What a Mess heard a strange rumbling sound. "Smugglers rolling little barrels of brandy up a pebbly beach," thought the puppy. It's my tummy rumbling. Well, I haven't anything to eat all day." What a Mess thought, and then had the quickest good idea of his short, fat life. He raced down the beach to the sea and swam around in the water until he was sopping wet. He then ran back up to the top of the cliff and into the tent where the family was sleeping. "Let's all go swimming," he barked. "The water's wonderful," and he shook himself vigorously. Ice-cold seawater flew off him and drenched the family. "Get out!" they shouted. "Out, out, out!" And to make him go, they threw the food at him, the remains of their overcooked, much too much supper. Hours later, when the puppy and his friend had eaten as much as they could, the Archbishop went off to get something he'd found on the beach. It was a child's rubber ring, used to help the child swim. "It's a crown," said the Archbishop. "Not much of one, I know, but it's to thank you for a lovely holiday. Good night, sweet prince," he said with a grin.
A kitchen mop, an old fur coat with a bird on top, a moving mess of unpleasantness. Good grief, what a mess! Eggshells, porridge, felt meringue. Is this Prince Amir up in jam? In toast and ketchup, you'll never guess. Oh no, what a mess! Though he's not a pretty sight, he really tries to do things right. With a mother who's tall and slim, I wonder how she ever thought of him. A short, fat, scruffy Afghan hound, a more foul creature you've never found, but tangled